The Architecture of Awareness, a foundational primer on thought, self, and time 1. The 2 domains of spiritual inquiry, surveying the landscape. To survey the landscape of consciousness, we must first distinguish between the 2 structural pillars of religious thought. Most seekers dwell within the first domain, the outward scaffolding of morality and tradition. However, the science of spirituality resides in the second domain, a realm of verifiable scientific truth present here and now. Accessing this second domain requires a radical shift in methodology. Consider a jewel resting at the bottom of a pond. As you descend the steps, you eventually reach a point where the laws of physics cause your body to float upward. To reach the jewel at the bottom, you cannot simply keep walking. You must reverse your posture and swim downward. Similarly, to access the second domain, one must reverse the habits of the ego and the intellect, moving beyond faith into the depths of direct realization. Dimension, first domain, moral, outward. Second domain, scientific, inward. Primary focus, morality, virtue, health, and social harmony. The soul and the mechanics of absolute truth. Methodology, built on faith, stories, and imagination, built on scientific, realistic, and verifiable data. Variability, culturally specific, different rituals and rules. Universal, identical for all, like the law of gravity. Verification, based on belief in external authority, based on direct personal observation. The foundational so what. The second domain is not a matter of choice or future achievement. It is the study of what eternally is. You do not need faith to acknowledge your own eyesight. You simply see. This domain demands the same directness. To begin this descent, we must first examine the structural integrity of the one seeking, the I. 2. The anatomy of I, the indirect shadow. In our standard mental blueprint, we assume the I is a solid, permanent entity. However, spiritual science reveals the I is an imaginary shadow, an opposite vision, created by the naming habit of the intellect. Consider how students are awarded marks. A score of 90 is actually a shorthand for 90 out of 100. The 100 is the invisible, indirect reference point that gives the 90 its meaning. The I functions identically. When the mind names a mother, it implicitly creates the shadow of a son or daughter. The I has no independent existence. It is an indirect reference point born from the naming of others. The I is a shadow cast by 3 structural pillars: thoughts, inherited ideas and concepts gathered from the past; feelings, transient internal reactions that shift moment to moment; experiences, the total accumulated data stored in memory. In truth, there is only the thought, but no permanent thinker. There is only the feeling, but no permanent feeler. The I is merely the shadow of these movements, mistakenly believing it is the source of the tree that casts it. This architectural glitch, the illusion of a permanent self, is the foundation of the distorted world we perceive as Maya. 3. Maya and the mirror of perception. Maya is not the unreality of the world, but the specific mechanics of sensory perception. We do not perceive objects as they are. We perceive the disturbances they create within our own sensory apparatus. The pond and the fire. If a fire burns across a pond, its reflection appears within the water. Though the water looks full of fire, the fire never touches the water. To fear being burned by the reflection is Maya. The cuckoo and the sense. Wavelength. When a cuckoo sings, its image disturbs the retina, and its sound disturbs the eardrum. We identify the cuckoo solely through these internal disturbances. the Doppler effect, and the thunder strike. Just as a train's whistle changes pitch based on the observer's position, the Doppler effect, or a deaf man perceives a deadly thunder strike as a mere knock on the door. Our senses filter reality through limited wavelengths. Key insight: we are the world. Because the world we experience is identical to our sensory function, there is no world foreign to us. The body function is the world function. The motion of the world is the motion of our own perception. 4. The mechanics of time, reality versus the dream. Our perception of time acts as a permanent curtain drawn before our eyes. While we calculate past, present, and future, only one state possesses structural reality. 1. The present, direct sensation. This is the only real state. It is perceived through direct sensation, the cool breeze, the bird's song, without the intervention of thought. It moves from present to present, completely disconnected from the past. 2. The past and future. The dream state. These are exclusively mental constructs. The past is a bundle of dead memories. The future is an estimation based on those memories. Both are dream states, reached only through imagination. We generally live in a half-real, half-dream state. We use the naming function of the intellect, the curtain of the past, to identify what is happening now. If we see a flower, we immediately label it rose, thereby pulling the present into the dream of memory. The art of spiritual clarity is to remain in the sensory present without the interference of this naming habit. 5. The three visions, from purity to ignorance. To understand how our vision becomes clouded, we must look at the three layers of perception. Eye, sensory vision. This is the innocent mirror. It is the first second of contact where the senses capture an image before the mind labels it. Like a river that remains clear because it is constantly flowing, this vision is renewed every second. Impact on learner. A state of fusion where the inner and outer worlds merge in a fresh, forward-looking flow. 2. Mental vision. Nanam. This is the naming intellect. A second after contact, the mind retrieves a name A. This is gold. This is a brick. This is the expression of pure intellect and scientific truth. Impact on learner. It allows us to navigate the world with categorization and functional knowledge. 3. Discriminatory vision. This is the domain of likes, dislikes, and possessiveness. We do not just see gold, we want the gold. This vision creates division and contradiction, leading to fear and jealousy. Impact on learner. It dominates the first two visions, chaining the individual to the smoke of their own reactions and personal narratives. 6. The sixth sense and the core feeling. Bipurul. Beyond the 5 external senses lies the sixth sense, the internal sensor that perceives mental states like pleasure, sorrow, and fear. While the reasons for these feelings may be Maya, imaginary, the experience of the feeling is a verifiable reality. The ultimate goal of this inquiry is to stabilize in Maypurul the core feeling. This state can be understood through the relationship between fire and smoke. Sensory vision is the fire. It is the source, the pure light of contact that is always new and forward-looking. Discriminatory vision is the smoke. It is the byproduct of likes, dislikes, and ego attachment. If we stay with the fire, the sensory present, we are not with the smoke, the suffering of discrimination. The smoke does not douse the fire, and the fire is not the smoke. By stabilizing in the first vision, the river of renewal washes away the dirt of the third vision. Maypurul, the core feeling, is inert and calm. It remains unchanged, while superficial feelings fluctuate. Omnipresent, it is the same core in all beings. At this level, there is no I or you. Immortal, it is the indestructible nucleus of being that exists here and now. The first step towards spiritual clarity. The beginning of wisdom is to distinguish between the doctrine of Maya, the smoke of thoughts and imagination, and the doctrine of the soul, the fire of feelings and direct experience. Clarity begins when we stop attempting to achieve truth through the effort of the third vision, and instead allow the truth to reveal itself by understanding the futility of mental intervention.